Hello, I'm David. Welcome to our channel.
Hello, I'm Sophia too.
Welcome back.
Today we are diving deep into, one of the more talked about thrillers of 2024. It's the American remake of that really intense Danish film, Speak No Evil.
Intense is one word for it. And yeah, calling this remake a cinematic anomaly is maybe a bit of an understatement.
Right.
Because this film, it's grabbed attention not just for the plot itself. A family's nice little weekend getaway turns into this psychological nightmare, but really because of how incredibly fast it appeared on our screens.
Yeah, that speed is really the starting point here, isn't it? We're talking, what, a 2-year gap between a Danish original that was, frankly, very highly regarded and this American version directed by James Watkins. So our mission for you, the listener, is basically to unpack that. The strategy behind such a quick production, the technical choices they made to build this really unconventional kind of suspense.
And the performances, too, because they really carry that almost unbearable tension.
Exactly. We want to focus squarely on how they engineered that feeling of dread, rather than just rehashing the plot points.
Okay, so looking at the industry, that 2-year turnaround, it's almost unheard of for a remake of a foreign film. Especially one that already had, critical acclaim.
Right.
Usually, studios wait, maybe 5 years, sometimes more. They need to see how it does globally, sort out complicated international rights, get a new cast, a director. It takes time.
So that rapid jump, it suggests a couple of pretty big things, I think. First, Blumhouse. They must have looked at that original property, which had this really raw, kind of visceral concept, and just thought, wow, this translates immediately, powerfully.
Yeah, like they saw dollar signs, maybe?
Well, it definitely signals maybe a shift in how quickly horror IP gets monetized globally now. They didn't hang around waiting for reviews to settle. They just pounced.
Which brings us to what kind of remake this actually is. Because, historically, remakes often try to, let's say, improve something. Maybe the original concept was good, but the execution was a bit weak.
Like Soderbergh's Ocean's 11 took a decent idea, but gave it that style, that polish.
Exactly. Or Carpenter's The Thing. Now, that was based on the novella Who Goes There, but it was a huge improvement over the earlier film version, The Thing from Another World. Much stronger execution.
But Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
This isn't really an improvement project, is it? Like you said, the Danish original was widely seen as a very good film.
Right.
So this American version, the 2024 one, it feels more like a project of, cultural translation.
Yeah.
And maybe accessibility. It doesn't seem to fundamentally rewrite the core idea.
No, it seems more like it's translating that specific horror of navigating social codes, but for a different cultural context. And, of course, removing the subtitle barrier for a mainstream American audience.
Which must have been key to the thinking.
And that goal, that translation, it feels really central to understanding the choices James Watkins made as the director. He clearly got that the horror here isn't, some monster hiding in the closet. It's self-inflicted. The film really aimed to test your patience as an audience member and your willingness to empathize with characters who are basically committing social suicide step by painful step.
It's the ultimate social trap, isn't it? That central mechanism, it's actually kind of ingenious. The tension comes because the main characters, played by Scoot McNairy and Mackenzie, they kind of seal their own fate simply because they're, maybe too nice.
Or maybe just too socially anxious. They just cannot bring themselves to have that awkward conversation.
Yeah, this is weird. We should leave. They can't do it.
Right. So they stay in this situation that gets increasingly uncomfortable, increasingly dangerous, just because leaving feels impolite. It feels more painful somehow in the moment.
And that has a specific effect on you, the viewer, doesn't it? It's like, if you hate seeing social awkwardness in movies, this is your worst nightmare multiplied by 100.
Oh, absolutely. The suspense builds because you're watching these characters make choices that you know are wrong. Maybe you saw the trailer, maybe you just know the genre conventions, but you also kind of understand why they're doing it socially. It's excruciating.
And there's that class exploration aspect threaded through it, too. The film sort of pokes at what different kinds of people might see as rude or unacceptable when you're a guest in someone's home. The tension is clever because it uses real-world social discomfort, things we can all relate to on some level, rather than just, throwing a fictional monster at us.
And technically, it's interesting how faithful the remake seems to be in some ways. It kept that slow building tension. They didn't just inject, jump scares every 10 minutes. which you might expect from an Americanized version.
Yeah, that was a relief, actually.
It suggests a high degree of fidelity to the original slow burn approach, although maybe it's arguably a little more palatable. But it's still a difficult watch, no question.
It absolutely is. Okay, so let's talk about the performances that have to carry all this extreme sort of simmering tension. We've mentioned Scoot McNairy and Mackenzie Davis, but there's also James McAvoy and Aisling Franciosi.
Right. This kind of film, by its very design, it really hinges entirely on the nuances they bring, the suppressed emotions, the tiny reactions.
And James McAvoy.
Wow.
Portraying the host, Patty.
Oh, he's magnificent, isn't he? Genuinely deserves all the praise he's getting. He is just terrifying.
But not in a typical horror way.
No. It's because his performance is so physical, so off-putting. He doesn't rely on just like cartoonish villainy. He embodies this simmering, unpredictable menace.
You feel it in his posture, the way he moves.
Exactly. He puts his entire body into creating this persona that's, on the surface, maybe charming, but underneath, it's just deeply, fundamentally broken somehow. You're constantly trying to figure him out, readjusting your perception.
What's really striking about his performance, I think, is how the danger evolves. Like you said, he's not a slasher villain hiding behind a mask. He's more like a social predator.
That off-putting nature isn't immediate, is it? It just sort of accrues, a weird joke here, a slightly too aggressive gesture there.
Yeah, it creeps up on you.
And it forces the audience to question their own judgment right alongside the family. You're thinking, was that weird, or am I overreacting?
Now, contrast that with Scoot McNairy's role as the father, Ben.
Yeah.
That is a challenging part.
Very. It's arguably the most thankless role in the film, maybe, because he becomes the main focus for the audience's frustration.
Totally. He plays the husband who is just so stubbornly reluctant to act, always saying, let's just wait it out, or dismissing the strange behavior as, well, maybe cultural differences or something.
You just want to shout at the screen, dude, step up, do something.
Exactly. But McNairy plays that deep-seated, almost painful passivity really well. That desperate need to avoid making a scene. It actually makes his character's decisions. Well, understandable, even while you're internally cursing him out. It's a tough performance because he has to maintain this state of denial that's actively grating on the viewer, but it's absolutely crucial for the film's whole premise to work.
And then you have Mackenzie Davis as the wife, Louise. She really serves as our vital audience avatar, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's the one who kind of voices what we're feeling first.
Right. She's the first one to really articulate that suspicion, asking, isn't this kind of strange? She voices that mounting sense of dread that you, the viewer, are feeling.
Her internal struggle gives us that grounding connection. It lets us sort of piece together the subtle clues and understand, maybe, why the family doesn't just pack the car and floor it at the first sign of trouble.
It's that balance, isn't it? Between McAvoy's explosive, unpredictable potential, McNairy's frustrating denial, and Davis's mounting anxiety. That's what makes the whole dynamic so compelling.
And you add in Aisling Franciosi as Diora, the other host, who has her own subtle layered thing going on. It creates this quartet of human behavior under extreme duress that's just deeply unsettling to watch.
So yeah, bringing it all together, you've got this successful, really rapid translation under James Watkins. You've got the technical approach that stayed pretty faithful to the original slow burn.
And these incredibly calibrated performances.
Right. The general feeling seems to be that this remake actually exceeded what were probably quite low expectations for many people.
Definitely. While the American version did make some choices that perhaps slightly softened the most extreme edges of the Danish original, they still worked pretty well for the narrative, didn't they? And they certainly didn't, ruin everything. They respected the overall tone.
Yeah, we hear that all the time, don't we? The remake ruined the original. But this feels like a rarer case where the new film actually respects the source material's artistic intent, even while adapting it.
So if you, the listener, happen to be a massive fan of the original Danish thriller, well, you might see some of the changes as maybe taking a slightly easier way out, especially regarding the sheer emotional brutality.
Some of the bleakness is maybe dialed back a notch.
But the core mechanism of the horror, that social trap, it's still very much intact.
But crucially, if you've never seen the original film, the 2024 remake works perfectly well as a standalone thriller. It's effective, it's deeply unsettling, and it definitely introduces this uniquely uncomfortable concept to a much wider audience.
Which is often the point of these remakes, right? So for maximum knowledge extraction, as we like to say, and to really get the complete picture on this chilling property, We'd strongly encourage you to check out the original Danish film as well.
Oh, definitely. It gives you so much context for the choices made in the remake.
Yeah.
And it's just, well, it's absolutely worth your time. We think it's currently available on AMC Plus if you're looking for it.
It really puts the whole thing in perspective.
So the real question this whole deep dive leads us with, I think, is a pretty profound one, actually.
Yeah. What's that?
Well, considering the film's central theme, that agonizing trade-off between just being polite and, basic survival instincts, where do we draw the line?
Between maintaining social grace and choosing immediate self-preservation when we find ourselves trapped in one of those increasingly awkward and potentially dangerous situations.
Exactly. It's something to maybe mull over next time you accept an overnight invitation from someone you don't know that well.
Food for thought indeed.
Stay tuned for our next video. So in order not to miss our next video, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell next to it to be notified of our next video. And if you liked our program today, like the video.
Thank you so much, as always, for watching, and goodbye.